A call for a united front for Mass Dominic as headline sponsor Flo invests $200,000 in Carnival 2016. Increased banana production next year could help lay the groundworks for penetration of new regional markets, and Caribbean governments warned about the future costs of caring for an increasing elderly population. I am Dominic Baptist of the Channel 5 News. Details coming up. Welcome back. First up, Minister for Tourism and Urban Renewal calls for all hands on deck for the staging of Mass Dominic 2016. Senator Robert Tong has declared that this is the time for Dominica to counterpunch following the ravages of Tropical Storm Erica. Tong, who was speaking at the media launch of Mass Dominic 2016, said carnival events create opportunities for Dominica.
The Ministry of Tourism can do it by themselves. You can do it as yourselves, as the contestants, as the organizers. Everybody has to put their hands together. Many hands make light work. Importantly, however, the service and tourism industries, inclusive of costume builders, hoteliers, caterers, transportation agents, vendors, among others, will definitely welcome the increased economic activity during the season, considering that the World Creole Music Festival 2015 was not staged this year.
The minister has also issued a warning to Calypsonians.
I want to urge the various Calypsonians to be very careful with their wit and satire due to the abundance of lawyers in Dominica today.
Under the theme, The Spirit of the Real Mass, Carnival will run from January 16, 2016, with the opening of the street parade to the closing on February 9. The minister says he is looking forward to a safe and violence-free Carnival season for 2016. Telecommunications company Flo to invest $200,000 in Mass Dominic 2016. Events surrounding Carnival begin this weekend with the Calypso eliminations and will continue for another 2 months, ending on February 9 with Carnival Monday Last Lap.
That will be a combination of cash and kind. And the DDA, through the Minister of Tourism, certainly has our unwavering commitment that it's going to be a lot more than cutting a check. I always make the point, though, that we stand for more than cutting a check and making a presentation to our partners. This is about ensuring that the resources we invest in whatever we support, and in this particular instance we speak to Carnival, goes towards adding value to the product, goes towards adding value to our country and our communities.
Baptiste also encourages support for the biggest event of the year.
So let me call on every single Dominican, let us turn the investment that we as corporate citizens are making into value for every citizen of this country. Let's support the events, let's support the Carnival Queen contestants, let's support all the participants in the various competitions that will be hosted. Let's encourage our people to be successes, and let's turn Mass 2016 into the most remarkable and successful Carnival edition we've had in recent years.
In agriculture, an increase in the supply of bananas is expected by April next year. This year, government brought in 60,000 plantlets from France to boost the banana and plantain sectors.
And that is the aim of the Ministry of Agriculture. Through the pilot program, again funded by the Banana Company Measures in Cassibus and Calibishi, where we have established approximately 33 acres of tissue culture bananas, and they are doing very well. And we anticipate that this tissue culture banana and plantain will start the bunching process in January, around January, February, and harvesting around April.
The European Union has injected funds to rehabilitate the sector through the banana accompanying measures.
In the months coming, what you will see is an increased effort in managing black sigatoka. We have some resources from the BAM, as I mentioned, fertilizer, and we are getting approximately 30,000 gallons of oil to help in the management of black sigatoka.
In related news, efforts continue to revive bananas and raise production levels to sustain penetration of new markets in Trinidad and Barbados. The production of bananas and plantains have been weighed down by the leaf spot disease black sigatoka.
We're also working with targeted farmers, a key group of farmers where we're targeting 300 acres to work with these farmers to increase production, where we can have approximately 3,000 boxes of banana a week to target the regional and the domestic market. The regional market, we speak of Antigua, St. Kitts, Montserrat, St. Martin, and we're also targeting the Barbados and Trinidad market. The program is to work with a core group of farmers where we're going to give them the necessary technical assistance, inputs, training, and develop a quality assurance system with them where they can also work with decks using the pack houses to increase the quality of the product.
Caribbean governments are being warned of an uphill battle as they face an increasingly aging population. Andrea Louis has more.
The observation was made by Director of the Economic Commission for Latin America and the Caribbean, ECLAC, when she visited Dominica recently. A two-year campaign to prepare Caribbean governments on the plight of the rising elderly population will be launched in 2016. The director says the matter of pensions for older individuals will be a major issue for regional governments.
Particularly those that work in the informal sector, those that live below the poverty line even now, will find that when they get to older years, they have no pension. They were not part of a formal pension scheme when they worked, and therefore they have nothing coming in now. So therefore we need governments to begin to expand non-contributory pension schemes, expand social security issues, and all of these have financial implications. And of course, there is a significant level of indebtedness in the Caribbean, and therefore we're going to need to see how we prepare for that expanding obligation in terms of economic support for older persons while managing the debt situation of the Caribbean. So that is a challenge.
Quarles says the entire Caribbean population has to be on board in order to deal with the realities of the aging populace.
We will be, of course, involving organizations, because we think that the NGO community has an extremely important role, as you can see from the work of DCOA and AMDOR. They have an extremely important role. This is not a responsibility that rests only with governments. The entire community has to be engaged, and the leadership that these organizations have shown is extremely commendable, and we want to be able to promote that. This is best practice right here. We want to be able to promote that across the region. It is important for everyone to get involved. Everybody needs to play a part in providing for the needs of older persons.
ECLAC, a research-based institution, estimates that by the year 2040, for every 100 children in the Caribbean, there will be 142 older people. Andrea Louis, Channel 5 News.
Dominicans have been called upon to use the power of adversity to rebuild the country after Tropical Storm Erica. Andrea Louis picks up that story.
Canadian-based Justice Irvin Andre made the remarks during the annual donation ceremony of the Elias Nassi Foundation on Thursday. Andre says Dominicans must use the challenges created by Tropical Storm Erica to engage the skilled population to reconstruct a better Dominica.
It reminds us of the need to adapt to changing conditions in a volatile world. It challenges us to dig deep within our resourcefulness, to devise ways, means, technologies, and skills to build a country which can be bequeathed to successive generations. It creates the possibility for a better and brighter world if we take inspiration from those who tarried before us and who achieved so much for us with so much less than us. It inspires us to immerse ourselves in that hot water spring of opportunity and emerge refreshed and reinvigorated to play our part in the transformation of Dominica.
Andre believes the destruction caused by Erica could motivate people to generate long-term goals to assist with the country's economic development.
For example, the storm transported hundreds of tons of rocks and sediment in our rivers to areas which are now accessible. Who among our enterprising persons will find a creative and lucrative solutions to add value to this raw material, either for export or in the construction industry? What about the sources of power which have been so adversely affected by the storm? Who among us will develop and market alternative sources of power, such as solar energy, which could cheapen the cost of electricity, lessen the interruptions of hydroelectric power during periods of turbulence, and reduce the carbon imprint on our planet.
The Elias Nassif Foundation donated $80,000 at Thursday's ceremony.
You are watching Channel 5 News. Coming up, Streetside Vendors continue to ignore City Council mandate to relocate to Roseau Market. That and more when we return. Thanks for staying with us. The Roseau mayor has expressed frustration over vendors of agricultural produce who have returned to business as usual along the city sidewalks. Her Worship Irene John says there are laws restricting street-side vending, and she continues to warn fresh produce vendors that the Roseau market is the appropriate place for their trade.
I've been seeing them myself. I saw a few of them. They're very adamant and they do not want to move. But as I said, we operate under the law. So we just have to do what we have to do, because some of them are very stubborn and they're very provoking. And well, we have the wardens that are going around, and what they do, they will wait until they disappear from the area and they'll come and they set up shop, and they're almost provoking, because when you pass they watch you and they laugh, because they figure somebody's at the back of them, you know, that is encouraging them to do the things that they're doing.
In February, the Roseau City Council brought in the police to remove vendors who insisted on setting up shop along Old Street.
We have laws by which we operate, and we just have to do what we have to do, because some of them left, but the others, they're very adamant and they refuse to move. We also have officers who operate in the city that can take certain actions that have to be taken as far as the vendors are concerned.
In more news, non-communicable diseases such as diabetes and hypertension can have negative consequences on the workforce and economy of any country, and Dominica is no exception. Parliament recently passed legislation imposing a 10% tax on certain commodities in an effort to discourage lifestyle habits which can lead to NCDs. One recommendation suggests expanding this fight against NCDs to include surveys which will highlight groups in our society whose lifestyle habits make them more vulnerable to NCDs. The MP for Roseau South says more attention needs to be paid to surveys. Such data could show who is at risk for NCDs, their age group, and where they live.
While this is a global phenomenon, the fact is the causes are different. So in St. Lucia, as an example, we know that anywhere you are, alcohol consumption can cause non-communicable diseases. But in Dominica, for our own good, where do we have bigger alcohol consumers? Is it that people in the north consume more alcohol? Is it in the south? Where do the people eat more sweets? Who are the people? What is the socioeconomic background? So that is why I am saying that we have to look at this scientifically.
Still in health, Dominicans are being called upon to play their part in reducing the number of HIV-positive cases in the country. Andrea Louis reports.
This as efforts continue through the National HIV/AIDS Response Program to reduce the number of HIV cases in Dominica. Earlier this week, Dominica recognized World AIDS Day, where countries worldwide unite to fight against HIV. Health educator with the National HIV/AIDS Response Program says continued vigilance is necessary if Dominica is to reduce and eventually eliminate incidents of HIV in the country.
We continue to ensure that structures are in place that both allow for prevention, treatment, care, and support for anybody who's infected. Naturally, prevention we started because if you can prevent somebody even becoming HIV positive, then that is where you really want to clinch it. Now, in terms of prevention though, we teach prevention, yes, but the responsibility still falls on the individual. The other health districts also have varying activities. So I think in the Castle Bruce Health District, the Salebert Health Center have an activity on Friday. Grand Bay started their list of activities from last week, and that continues. The Margaret Health Team, they are having an activity next week. So as you can see, the activities are not only centered around the day.
The young people are also coming on board to bring awareness of the prevalence of HIV/AIDS among Dominica's productive population.
The Northern District Youth Council, they approached us and requested that we collaborate with them in order to target the youth on the north. And we thought this was really impressive and a good opportunity to collaborate with a group of people whom we consider to be our future leaders. And so we are offering at Portsmouth on Saturday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. a number of activities which will allow them to get more education on HIV and AIDS and STIs. And that's really the take-home message, that HIV, being HIV positive, is slowly becoming what we consider a chronic illness. You need to recognize that you can live with this illness and you can make the best of your life.
One of the Millennium Development Goals is to halt and reverse the spread of HIV/AIDS by the end of the year 2015.
And one local businessman has added his thoughts to the issue of gay rights. Andrea Louis again with more.
The comments came shortly after the election of Dominican-born Baroness Patricia Scotland to the post of Commonwealth Secretary General. At the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Malta last month, Scotland won the vote over Antigua's Sir Ronald Sanders and Botswana's Mamsegoa Maziri Mwamba. One of the controversial issues on the Baroness's agenda is to advocate for the fair treatment of gay individuals.
She's a woman of character, of great character. And when you hear her talk, look at already, she's talking about the fundamental issues, you know, about equality for women, equality for between same-sex people and things like that. That's a move all over the world that's coming. Some of us in Dominica are a little reluctant, some churches are a little reluctant. But when you think about it, churches can have their view and have a right to have their view, but the state must be fairer to all people and so on. So she's in a move for that.
Bellot says despite attempts to muddy Scotland's character ahead of the election, it is clear that the better person won.
Incidentally, Baroness Scotland is one of the regular contributors to the Grotto Home. And that's why it disturbed me when some of the people who in the other islands who wanted a different candidate to win said, well, she has no contact with Dominic ever since she left as a 2-year-old. That is not so. She also helps her community in where she was born in St. Joseph. You know, in fact, we have a picture of her making a donation in the grotto. It was very discouraging, some of the things that were said before the election, you know, because she is actually a wonderful, wonderful lady and very, very capable.
Baroness Patricia Scotland will take up the post of Commonwealth Secretary General in April 2016. Andrea Louis, Channel 5 News.
Sports highlights next with Kenny Williams.
First up in sports, 16 more FIFA officials charged by U.S. authorities investigating corruption at the World Football's governing body. This follows the arrest of 2 FIFA vice presidents on Thursday. Past Brazil Football Federation Chief Ricardo Tachaje was one of those accused of being involved in alleged criminal activities involving over £132 in bribes. Reports out of BBC Radio 5 Live suggest that FIFA's reputation has been so badly tarnished that it is beyond repair and may need to start again from scratch. Still in football, there were wins for Itassi United, Petro Caribe Point Michel and Cube Cheese Barbershop Bathurst State Football Club in the Division 1 League on Thursday. Itassi United defeated MV Maxino Warmers 3-1 in Portsmouth with Brian LeBlanc, Rick Hippolyte and Malcolm LeBlanc scoring for Itassi. Meantime at Poirier Playing Field, Petro Caribe Point Michel emerged victorious when they defeated All Saints 2-0. Rick Frampton and Britt Casimir scored for the winning team. Then Cube Cheese Barbershop Bathurst State hammered Golly Dream Team 5-1 when Denzel Lawrence registered a hat-trick for Bathurst State with the remaining goals coming from Dwight Frederick and Anderson Lawrence. Moving on to football scheduled for the weekend. The second round of the DFA Flow Premier League kicks off with 4 doubleheaders. Gerald George has details.
On Saturday, Caribbean Cool Harlem United will come up against Malta India Icons Football Club at 3 p.m. in the first match of a doubleheader, while at 5 p.m. it will be Sideman Middleham United versus Bathurst State Football Club. In another doubleheader on Sunday, Sagicos Office will battle Northern Concrete and Steel Bombers at 3 p.m. to be followed by league leaders Dubla Football Club versus defending champions Kyrie FM Exodus Football Club at 5 p.m.
And finally in football, the finals of the Under-17 Football Championships kicked off at Windsor Park Friday.
We're here at full time now and the winners of this game is now
Dominic Dominica Grammar School. Both teams were at the head in the semi-finals, and the score at the end of the game is 5-1 in favor of Dominic Dominica Grammar School. Indeed, it was an electrifying performance here today at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium, and I'm sure they are going to celebrate now because this is the second time they have won this. They won it last year, and they done it again this year. On to cricket now. South Africa trailed by 213 runs with no wickets remaining after the first innings of their test against India on Friday. The Indian team were all out for 334 with Rahane top scoring 127 and Ashwin recording 56. Abbott took 5 for 40 and Pete 4 for 117 for South Africa. The visitors replied with 121 with no South African batsman scoring more than De Villiers' 42. Jadeja picked up 5 for 30 while Ashwin and Yadav took 2 wickets each for India. Meantime in Brisbane, the third day of cricket between the West Indies and Cricket Australia 11 had the Windies trailing by 76 runs with 3 wickets left on Friday. In Australia's first innings, the team signed off on 444 with Short top scoring with 76. Jason Holder took 4 for 76 and Carlos Brathwaite 2 for 93 in favor of the Windies. The visiting team scored 125 for 7 at close of play. The scores at the end of the match: West Indies 243 and 125 for 7, Australia 11 444. That's all the time we have for sports. I am Kenny Williams. Join us again next time.
Keep your umbrella close. Scattered showers expected. Your weather report is next.
Good evening to you viewers and welcome to tonight's weather broadcast. A low-level trough continues to generate some instability across the Lesser Antilles today, and the visible satellite imagery showed mostly cloudy skies across Dominica and the islands to the north of the chain. Meanwhile, radar imagery indicated scattered shower activity mainly across the central portion of the Lesser Antilles. These conditions are expected to continue into tonight, and residents in vulnerable areas are advised to continue to be vigilant. As the night progresses into tomorrow, a reduction in moisture levels is anticipated, and fair to partly cloudy skies with a few brief showers are expected by tomorrow afternoon. A deterioration in sea conditions is expected tomorrow, with waves expected to pick up to 10 feet. All users of the sea, particularly those of you along the eastern coast, do exercise extreme caution. And looking ahead, a high-pressure system is expected to become the dominant feature Sunday into Monday, resulting in fair to partly cloudy skies with some haze and a few brief scattered showers. And across the Lesser Antilles tomorrow, a relative improvement in conditions expected across the entire chain, with occasional cloudy skies with a few scattered showers. And on the international scene tomorrow, clear skies are expected in New York and Caracas, rain in Miami, and partly cloudy skies in London and Beijing. The sun will rise tomorrow at 6:18 a.m. and will set at 5:34 p.m. For further information, call the weather hotline at 447-5555 or visit our website at weather.gov.dm. Thank you for joining us this evening. Have a great weekend.
That's news. The headlines again. A call for a united front for Mass Dominic as headline sponsor Flo invests $200,000 in Carnival 2016. Increased banana production next year could help lay the groundwork for penetration of new regional markets. And Caribbean governments warned about the future cost of caring for an increasing elderly population. Let us know what you think. Email us at news@marpin2k4.com. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the production team, I'm Idona John Baptist. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend.